Electrical codes mandate that dishwashers and garbage disposals be connected to dedicated circuits. This requirement stems from several important electrical considerations. A dedicated circuit, in electrical terms, means that the appliance is the only load connected to that particular circuit breaker in the electrical panel. Firstly, both dishwashers and garbage disposals are motor-operated appliances. Motors, when starting, draw a significantly higher amount of current than they do during normal operation. This inrush of current, also known as the starting current or loop rotor current, can be several times the appliance's rate of running current. Sharing a circuit with other appliances could lead to nuisance tripping of the circuit breaker due to this temporary overload. Secondly, dishwashers often incorporate heating elements to raise the water temperature for washing and drying. These heating elements consume a substantial amount of electrical power. Adding the current draw of the heating element to the already significant current demand of the motor can easily overload a shared circuit, especially if other appliances are in use on that circuit simultaneously. Thirdly, garbage disposals, while typically operating for shorter durations, can draw a considerable amount of current while grinding food waste. The intermittent but high current draw of a disposal, combined with the potential load from a dishwasher or other kitchen appliances, increases the risk of overloading a shared circuit. Fourthly, dedicated circuits improve the overall safety of the electrical system. Overloaded circuits can lead to overheating of the wiring, which in turn can damage the insulation and potentially cause electrical fires. By ensuring that each appliance has its own dedicated circuit, the risk of overloading is minimized and the safety of the electrical system is enhanced. Fifthly, dedicated circuits reduce the likelihood of voltage drops. When multiple appliances operate on the same circuit, the voltage available at each appliance can decrease, particularly when one or more appliances are drawing a high current. This voltage drop can negatively impact the performance of the appliances and potentially damage them over time. A dedicated circuit helps maintain a stable voltage supply to the appliance, ensuring optimal performance. Sixthly, electrical codes, such as the National Electrical Code, often specify requirements for dedicated circuits for certain appliances. These code requirements are based on safety considerations and the need to ensure the reliable operation of electrical equipment. Following these code requirements is essential for compliance and for maintaining a safe electrical installation. When installing a dedicated circuit for a dishwasher or garbage disposal, it's crucial to select the appropriate wire gauge and circuit breaker size. The wire gauge must be sufficient to handle the anticipated current draw of the appliance without overheating. The circuit breaker size must be adequate to protect the wiring from overcurrent, but also must be sized appropriately to prevent nuisance tripping. For a typical dishwasher or garbage disposal, a 20-amp circuit with 12-gauge wire is commonly used. However, always refer to local electrical codes for the requirements in your area. It's also important to ensure that the circuit is properly grounded. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the electrical panel, tripping the circuit breaker and preventing electrical shock hazards. The grounding conductor must be properly sized and connected to the grounding system in the electrical panel. In addition to the dedicated circuit requirement, dishwashers and garbage disposals also typically require a separate equipment grounding conductor. This grounding conductor provides an additional layer of protection against electrical shock hazards. The equipment grounding conductor is connected to the metal frame of the appliance and to the grounding system in the electrical panel. When connecting a dishwasher or garbage disposal to a dedicated circuit, it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. The instructions will provide specific information about the wiring connections, grounding requirements, and other important installation details. If unsure about any aspect of the installation, it's always best to consult with a qualified electrician. They can ensure that the appliance is properly connected and that the electrical system is safe and compliant with code requirements. Ignoring the dedicated circuit requirement for dishwashers and garbage disposals can have several negative consequences. Firstly, it can create a safety hazard. Overloaded circuits can lead to overheating, damage to wiring, and potentially electrical fires. Secondly, it can damage the appliances. Voltage drops caused by shared circuits can negatively impact the performance and lifespan of dishwashers and garbage disposals. Thirdly, it can violate electrical codes. Failure to comply with code requirements can result in fines and other penalties. Therefore, it is always best to adhere to the code. The National Electrical Code (NEC) provides specific guidelines for electrical installations, including the requirements for dedicated circuits for appliances such as dishwashers and garbage disposals. These guidelines are intended to ensure electrical safety and prevent hazards associated with overloading circuits. Article 210.23 Permissible loadings in the NEC addresses the allowable loads on branch circuits. This section outlines the rules for how much load can be connected to a 15 amp or 20 amp circuit. For example, it specifies that the sum of the amperage ratings of appliances fastened in place shall not exceed 50% of the branch circuit ampere rating where lighting units, other appliances, or combinations of appliances and lighting units are also supplied. Article 422 Appliances provides requirements for the installation of appliances, including dishwashers and garbage disposals. This article covers topics such as disconnecting means, overcurrent protection, and grounding. Section 422.10 Disconnecting means typically requires a means to disconnect the appliance from the power supply. This disconnecting means could be a readily accessible switch or a circuit breaker. Section 422.11 Overcurrent protection specifies the type and size of overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, required for our appliances. Section 422.16 Grounding outlines the grounding requirements for appliances, including the need for an equipment grounding conductor. Local amendments or additions to the NEC may exist depending on the jurisdiction. It's crucial to consult local electrical codes and regulations to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. Ignoring these codes can lead to safety hazards and legal issues. The typical installation of a dedicated circuit involves several steps. Firstly, identify the location of the electrical panel and the intended location of the dishwasher or garbage disposal. Plan the route for the new circuit wiring, ensuring that it complies with all applicable code requirements. Secondly, install a new circuit breaker in the electrical panel. The circuit breaker should be sized appropriately for the anticipated load of the appliance, typically 20 amps for a dishwasher or garbage disposal. Thirdly, run the new circuit wiring from the electrical panel to a junction box near the appliance. Use the appropriate wire gauge for the circuit breaker size, typically 12 gauge wire for a 20 amp circuit. Fourthly, install a receptacle or a direct wiring connection for the appliance. If a receptacle is used, it should be a grounding type receptacle. If the appliance is directly wired, make sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions for the wiring connections. Fifthly, connect the equipment grounding conductor to the metal frame of the appliance and to the grounding system in the electrical panel. This grounding conductor provides an additional layer of protection against electrical shock hazards. Finally, test the circuit to ensure that it is properly wired and grounded. Use a multimeter or a circuit tester to verify the voltage and grounding connections. If any problems are found, correct them before using the appliance. When working with electrical wiring, it is essential to follow all safety precautions. Firstly, always turn off the power to the circuit breaker before working on any wiring. Secondly, use insulated tools to prevent electrical shock hazards. Thirdly, wear safety glasses to protect your eyes from flying debris. Fourthly, never work on electrical wiring when you are wet or standing in water. Fifthly, if you are not comfortable working with electrical wiring, consult with a qualified electrician. They can ensure that the work is done safely and in compliance with code requirements. In summary, providing dedicated circuits for dishwashers and garbage disposals is a critical safety measure and is generally required by electrical codes. This practice prevents overloads, reduces the risk of electrical fires, ensures proper appliance operation, and enhances overall electrical safety in the home. Always consult local electrical codes and a qualified electrician for specific installation requirements and to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. This will help you have a safe kitchen. Remember, When dealing with electrical installations and modifications, accuracy and adherence to established codes and practices are paramount. If there is any uncertainty, consult with a qualified electrician. Their knowledge and expertise can make the difference between a safe and functional electrical system and one that poses a significant hazard. Electrical work requires a thorough understanding of electrical principles, wiring methods, and safety protocols. Attempting to perform electrical work without adequate knowledge and experience can be dangerous and can result in serious injury or property damage. Therefore, unless you are a qualified electrician, it is always best to leave electrical work to the professionals. A qualified electrician will have the necessary training, experience, and equipment to perform electrical work safely and in compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. They can also identify potential problems and make recommendations for improving the safety and efficiency of your electrical system. When choosing an electrician, it is important to select one who is licensed and insured. A licensed electrician has met the requirements established by the state or local jurisdiction and has demonstrated their competence in electrical work. Insurance provides protection in case of accidents or damages that may occur during the work. In addition to licensing and insurance, it is also important to consider the electrician's experience and reputation. Ask for references from previous customers and check online reviews to get a sense of the electrician's quality of work and customer service. A reputable electrician will be happy to provide references and will be transparent about their pricing and services. Before hiring an electrician, it is always a good idea to get a written estimate for the work. The estimate should include a detailed breakdown of the costs for labor, materials, and any other expenses. Be sure to ask the electrician to explain the estimate and to answer any questions that you may have. Once you have selected an electrician and agreed on a price, be sure to get a written contract before any work begins. The contract should outline the scope of the work, the payment terms, and any other important details. Be sure to read the contract carefully and to ask any questions that you may have before signing it. During the work, it is important to stay informed and to communicate with the electrician regularly. Ask questions about the progress of the work and any issues that may arise. If you have any concerns, be sure to address them promptly. Once the work is completed, be sure to inspect it carefully to ensure that it meets your expectations. If you find any problems, be sure to notify the electrician immediately and to give them an opportunity to correct them. By following these tips, you can ensure that you hire a qualified electrician and that the work is done safely and to your satisfaction. This is especially important when it comes to dedicated circuits, which are crucial for the safe and efficient operation of many household appliances.